Hi, my name is Bethany Reynolds and I'm a student at University Centre Peterborough. Could you please introduce yourself?
Of course. So, hi, my name's Lee Newman. I'm a detective inspector currently employed by Thames Valley Police, and I'm attached to the South East Regional Organised Crime Unit at the moment, working as the County Lines Coordinator for the South East of England.
What sector is your company based in?
So, Thames Valley Police is based in the public sector within law enforcement and policing.
Could you tell me what your company does?
Yeah, of course. So, Thames Valley Police's aims and objectives are to reduce crime and incidents through targeted and effective problem solving, working with the communities. We look to bring criminals to justice and protect the public. And also, a key aim is to protect the vulnerable by proactively identifying, understanding, and reducing the threat, risk, and harm within the Thames Valley. We are also keen and always striving to increase the satisfaction of service that we give to victims and other people in need by responding appropriately and improving communications.
Does your company supply to a regional, national, or global market?
So the local policing priorities reflect the regional and national priorities in tackling the most serious harm posed by criminality and protecting our communities. So it's very much a kind of local, regional, and then national approach.
How many people work within your company?
So there are currently approximately 8,000 staff employed by Thames Valley Police, with roughly half of those, so about 4,000 being police officers, and then approximately 4,000 civilian staff across a number of different roles within the organisation.
What makes your company stand out to your clients?
So for me, the what makes Thames Valley Police as an organisation stand out is its code of ethics and the values of policing, and that ability to really make a difference. The key for me being honesty, openness, and ethical behaviour that embeds across the organisation and very much around the professional decision making. Policing, I would say, is very rewarding, yet very challenging. Involves acting and behaving in an exemplary manner, displaying and exercising appropriate discretion and valour, demonstrating consistently sound judgment and impartiality in the discharge of our duties.
Does your business have multiple office locations?
So Thames Valley Police covers a number of counties. So we cover a large area across Oxfordshire, Buckinghamshire, and Berkshire. And yes, there are numerous police buildings and offices at various sites across those counties, housing different teams.
What recent environmental changes has your company made or plan to make?
So flexibility of working practices has been the key thing, I would say, to manage very much the current pandemic and the related challenges that's brought with it, and to ensure that we continue to deliver a service to protect the public whilst keeping our staff safe and well, and also making better use of technology as an organisation.
So I now have some questions about you. What do you do?
So currently, in my role, I coordinate the tactical response and delivery to county lines threats across a number of police forces. I manage a team of staff and coordinate, as I say, the responses to tackle the county lines and provide training and education inputs to a broad range of partners, including law enforcement and associated partner agencies, very much delivering a 4P approach. So by that, I mean across the four strands of policing, so prevent, pursue, protect, and prepare. So it's very much so I deliver a 4P approach to this issue in a problem solving manner, providing tactical guidance to teams to tackle county lines, safeguard those being or at risk of being exploited by county lines network.
How long have you been doing it?
So I've been doing my current role only for about 4 months. very much enjoying it. It's very challenging, very interesting. I've been a police officer overall now for coming up to 17 years. That makes me feel rather old. And I've worked in a number of different roles as a uniformed officer for 3 years or so, detective constable for 5 or 6 years in our CID priority crime departments, dealing with a wide range of different crime types. I was then a detective sergeant in CID and also in the intelligence arena. And then more recently, I've become a detective inspector. And across those different roles, I've dealt with a range of incidents, from being first on scene at serious incidents, involved in life-saving interventions. I've attended traffic collisions, dealt with domestic violence, sexual offences, armed robberies, burglaries, frauds, drugs, firearms, you name it really, as well as more recently modern slavery and criminal exploitation matters.
How did you get involved in it?
So personally for me, many years ago, I was working as a retail manager in my local town. I was running different bakeries across a large retail chain, and a good friend of mine was very keen on joining the police, and I subsequently attended a recruitment event at a local hotel, looked at the kind of diverse range of options within policing, and it very much caught my attention. I applied to join. As I say, that was 17 years ago now, and I've never looked back. Certainly never been bored with it.
What kind of projects are you working on right now?
So currently I'm involved in a number of projects, particularly in the response to tackling county lines. That includes proactive policing operations, various partnership working initiatives, a lot of early intervention work with our partners. I'm also responsible for various training deliveries in this area, working on some national pieces of work, including university engagement. I'm heavily involved in intelligence development work, also staff development, which is key and pivotal really within the police, ensuring that we develop the skills of our staff. I've also been involved recently in recruitment and training, and then supporting force strategic and tactical planning and awareness raising, but most importantly, prosecuting serious criminals and safeguarding vulnerable people.
What are your favourite parts of the job?
So for me, it's very much about the people that we work with and the people that we support. My favourite parts, I think, are just making a difference, supporting people, helping people, investigating crime, catching criminals, safeguarding people that need our help, and stopping those that are causing harm and exploiting vulnerable people. I think that's my favourite thing, just making a difference really, and just locking up bad people.
What do you think are the skills needed for your job?
I would say some of the key skills are interpersonal skills, so effective communication skills, being able to effectively communicate to all sorts of different people across a diverse range of backgrounds, an inquisitive and keen mind, I would say. Determination is key, as well as physical and personal resilience, and a real ethos of being able to work as part of a team. It can be challenging, the reality of policing is it's not for everybody, but it is hugely rewarding, challenging at the same time. It can involve dealing with things that you may not imagine seeing. There isn't a lot that I haven't seen in my time during policing, and I think it's a key bit really is being resilient and understanding that it does often involve long hours, hard work, and exposure to a number of different situations. So I would say, the key skills needed to be.
How do you network?
So for me, networking is very much a kind of continuous practice, really. A lot of the networking for me comes from daily contact with different teams, different people, different organisations, different partners. In this current world, there's a lot of attendance at virtual events, whether that be me delivering inputs to a wide range of audiences, or participating as a participant in virtual events. I also use LinkedIn, which I find quite handy for making different contacts and networking. And then a lot of networking happens at your sort of local, regional and national events. This interview, for example, came through some contacts made via LinkedIn.
So I now have some questions about the sector. What changes have you seen in your sector in the last 5 years?
So for me, within policing, there's always a desire and a willingness to improve and develop through that constant engagement with communities, our staff and our partners to make sure that we're really developing our working practices. There's a real drive to protect the vulnerable and identify that hidden harm and respond accordingly to that threat. And there's a constant view to develop professional skills of our staff, including our ability to respond to more cyber-enabled crimes. So I've certainly seen a need and an implementation to ensure professional skills are identified and suitably accredited, and that we're making the best use of technology.
What are the developing opportunities for your sector?
So for me, again, really, I think it's about that continuous and ongoing development of our staff and our working practices, and a continued sense and purpose really to work in collaboration with our partners to deliver the key objectives of keeping the public safe and protecting our communities. And this includes maximising and sharing information to best understand the threat, risk and harm that we can in partnership manage. Partnership and collaboration is the absolute key for me. And again, making best use of IT and technological opportunities in this sector.
What are the developing pressures for your sector?
So I would say some of the developing pressures for policing include more complex crime types, really. So with that comes an increased demand, but that also enables us to upskill and develop our staff and our capabilities to respond accordingly. The current pandemic has added additional pressures to policing, but as always, we continue to step up. We continue to respond in a dynamic and positive fashion, protecting the public and tackling crime.
What organisations or professional bodies represent your sector?
There are a number of organisations and professional bodies, the National Crime Agency, so the NCA, and the NPCC, so the National Police Chiefs Council, and then predominantly training and good practice is managed by the COP, so the College of Policing.
So I now have some questions about recruitment. What skills does your company most value in your employees and why?
So for me, some of the skills that we most value are going back to what I said previously, really, around those codes of ethics. So it's very much around honesty, integrity, openness, and a real willingness to learn. We all make mistakes. We all make decisions that perhaps don't always have the desired outcomes that we may wish. But what for me is key is that ability and that willingness to learn, develop. Flexibility is key, communication skills are key, as well as a appetite and tenaciousness to really make a difference, as well as commitment and trust being vital and key.
What are your company's top 3 interview questions and what are you looking for in the answers?
So with this, I wouldn't say there was a top 3 really, but what I would say and what I can help, certainly at the core of Thames Valley Police, we work off the competency and values framework. So that looks at things such as some headings, for example. So it looks at inclusive, enabling and visionary leadership. It looks at being resolute, compassionate and committed. And then it also looks at creative and informed policing. So as such, questions can often want to look into an individual's ability to work collaboratively, an individual's ability to be able to deliver support and inspire others, an ability to analyse critically, be open-minded and innovative, and to take ownership. So I'd often encourage students to take a look at the framework online. Google competency and values framework in police, and then it'll be on the College of Policing website. And then you can start to draw up some evidence and examples of the times when you have done certain things that fit those certain competencies.
What other roles does your company employ?
So Thames Valley Police employs a whole range of staff across a whole variety of roles. That includes police staff, crime scene investigators, intelligence officers, police community support officers, uniformed officers, detectives, missing person coordinators, specialist capabilities, including dog handlers, mountain section, road policing. There are also neighbourhood policing teams, ICT staff, finance staff, legal services, criminal justice, contact management, corporate communications, and many more.
What advice do you have for someone wanting to work in your sector?
So the best advice that I think I can give is go into it with an open mind. You'll always see things that you couldn't imagine, and it'll open your eyes to all sorts of things. So do your research. Speak to as many people as you can and be brave. Pick up the phone, make that call or send that email, as the vast majority of people within the organisation will be more than willing to help and give you some of their time, some of their advice, some of their experience. Be honest and ask yourself, do you want to make a difference? And are you committed to doing so? You'll have to deal with some tough situations and make some difficult decisions, but the rewards are certainly plentiful, and the satisfaction of making a positive difference to people's lives is absolutely second to none. So I think my chief constable sums it up perfectly, really, when he says, when people are at their worst, then that's when we must be at our best.
Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you for your time.